Okay, everybody. Welcome to the Apprentice Worldwide Global Internship Program Week 5. And today we have a special guest, Pastor Charles Scott. And I always emphasize the pastor because number one, I am a man of faith. So to me, every time that I hear the word pastor, I know somebody is close to God and they're like me. I want to be close to God. But most importantly is a reminder that all of us have somebody to follow, right? And Pastor Charles Scott is a good friend, a good mentor, right? And I wanted him to give his wisdom to you guys, but most importantly, to get to know you personally. So before, when you guys finish introducing yourselves, and I want you to be as honest and as creative as possible, because I want this to come from the heart. So today we're going to talk from the heart. Before we were talking, from the mind and from instinct. Today we're going to talk from the heart. Okay. So what does that mean? For example, my wife had COVID this week, and this week has been crazy because I have to take care of my father-in-law who's 93 years old. I went to Chicago last week and I had a lot of things happening in my life in the past couple of weeks. But that doesn't stop me from taking care of business, right? And from being here. I don't know if you know, but besides, the Global Internship Program, we run programming for Apprentice Worldwide, which is, around 500 people that want to continue learning after they graduate college. So, I take this very seriously because for me, by serving, right, which is the topic of the discussion, by serving, we gain 10 times as much. I don't know if you know that, but the people that are around you, these are my friends. So there's no coincidence. And I get a chance. You know what it is that I get a chance every day of my life to serve with my friends. I don't know if you understand the feeling, but for me, it's a true blessing. So again, this is Hernan. I will pass the baton to, if you want, Charles, pick people. I'll let you pick the people to introduce themselves.
No, what I'm going to do, Hernan, I thank you so much. I just want to say, make this easy. I'm going to let Genesis is controlling the systems of communications. It would be best for her to allow everyone to introduce themselves according to the roster she has in front of her.
Perfect.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't have the roster because I'm on the phone. That's why I wanted you to pick.
I think Genesis has it, doesn't she?
I'm sorry?
Genesis, you have the roster, the list of persons on the line?
Yes.
Please have them, you call them one by one, let them introduce themselves, please.
Of course. Well, first one will be Akil.
Okay.
Hi, my name
Go
is
ahead. Ahil, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm blessed. It's a pleasure meeting you, sir. Tell me about yourself, please.
It's a pleasure to meet you too. Yes, originally I'm from Kyrgyzstan. It's a small country, used to be part of the Soviet Union. I'm currently doing my master's degree at Indiana University. I'm majoring in finance, and yeah, I've been part of this program and really enjoyed it so far. Worked with an executive from JP Morgan, learned a lot along the way. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Ahil, thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you.
Genesis, next, please.
Next will be Alberto.
Hello, can you give me a minute, please?
Okay, no problem. Next one will be Arthur.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to meet you, Mr. Charles. My name is Artur Mishrikov. Originally, I'm from Russia. Currently getting my bachelor degree in Florida International University, pursuing double major in information systems and business analytics. I'm very open-minded and love to learn new things and looking forward to learn something new from you today.
Welcome, Arthur. Thank you so much. Go Golden Panthers.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Next, Genesis.
Next, Austin.
Hey all, hey Charles, how you doing? My name's Austin. I'm from Long Island, New York. Really into sports and always have been a competitive at heart. Yeah, that's really all.
Which part of Long Island are you from?
Oceanside, it's near Long Beach, South Nassau.
I used to live in Nassau County back in 2017, 2018. Yes.
Where do you live?
Not too far from, do you know where the movie, what's it called, was made? God, I'm trying to remember the name of the place right now, on top of my head. But it was about a horror movie made up there with the
Oh, Amityville.
Amityville, not too far from Amityville. Yes.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yes. Yes. It's a pleasure meeting you,
Nice to
Austin.
meet you.
Awesome.
Welcome. Next one.
Bobby.
Hi, Charles. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Bobby Morrissey, and I'm originally from Chicago. I currently go to University of Miami, Florida. And I would say things I'm interested in is outdoors activities. Like I like to go hiking outside, like in the Everglades or like in the mountains out west. Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do.
Welcome,
meet you.
Bobby. It's a pleasure meeting you, Bobby. You have a lot in common then. I'm also one of my professional titles in life. I'm also an environmental scientist. And ironically, I spent 19 years doing work in Everglades restoration. So certainly,
Oh,
it's a
wow.
pleasure meeting you. Yes.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. That's awesome.
Okay.
Next.
Christopher.
Good evening, everyone. Very nice to meet you, Mr. Scott. My name is Christopher Alfaro. I am a senior, born and raised here in Miami, Florida, and pursuing a bachelor's degree in Florida International University in international business with certificates in entrepreneurship and logistics. Right now, I'm part of this internship program, shadowing Mr. Abimayo Padilla. I have some interest in logistics, and I guess long-term goal would be being an entrepreneur, starting up my own company. So what else? Some of my interests, I like staying active, playing sports, and yeah, watching a lot of movies and TV shows.
Christopher, thank you so much. I encourage you to stay close to Anand. He said something, he repeated twice about the critical nature of professional development. It's literally about relationships. And relationships are key in life for everything, especially advancement in life. That's the first thing. Okay. Genesis, next, please.
Dev.
Hey Charles, so yeah, I'm Dev. I'm from India and I'm pursuing my master's degree here at the Stevens Institute of Technology in New Jersey. So I'm majoring in finance and this is my second year.
Welcome. Dev, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Emerson, you're next.
Hey everyone, good evening, Pastor Charles. My name is Emerson. So I'm originally from Malaysia, came to the United States about 3.5 years ago to finish my degree in psychology and economics. I graduated about a year or so ago, and then I served in ISEC as the head of organizational development. I believe you might have gone to one of the events. I'm not sure. I think I saw your photos there. Yeah, I also have a big passion, I think, for economic development, but also very interested in business. I'm also quite, I think what you're going to be talking about will be very relevant to me because I've also been offered an internship back in Malaysia to do it more social work and also sustainable development. And so I'm trying to figure out, right, what is what is the path that I want to go to. Because I also have to go back to Malaysia and figure out my next steps. But yeah.
Welcome. I think you and I have a lot to talk about in that regard. I did a lot of work in sustainable development in West Africa for 7.5 years at one point, and almost 10 years in total. And a lot of it has impacted 16 countries in West Africa. So certainly a lot I'm happy to share with you about Malaysia and its potential in
Yeah.
terms of continued development. Okay.
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome, sir. Next,
Next.
please, Genesis.
Gabrielle.
Hi, so my name is Gabrielle. I'm at FIU right now. I'm studying marketing and I'm a senior. And I want to tap into event marketing or some kind of business analytic job post graduation. I'm still figuring out what I want to tap into, but that's so far the goal as of right now.
Welcome, Gabrielle. I wish you all the best and welcome to another Golden Panther in the mix, huh?
Yes, yes.
Great,
Nice to meet
great.
you.
Next
Yeah.
will be Moises.
Hello, sorry, I have a problem with the camera, but hi, nice to meet you, Mr. Scott. My name is Moises. I'm originally graduated from FIU in business management and marketing. As well, I'm already graduated. I'm just working right now on a home automation company, but I love to learn and I love to meet new people, and I always listen to advices. So I'm excited to see what kind of advices can you give us. So thank you so much for being here today.
It's a pleasure. Welcome, Moses. Thank you for having me.
Next will be Carla.
Oh, hi, Pastor. I think we've met before. I'm Vice President of ISAC in Miami. We've met through Professor Sangu. I've seen you at events
Yes, we have.
and posted pictures of you on our social media. So, as I previously stated, I'm Vice President of Marketing in ISAC in Miami, and I've just been ascended to Vice President of ISAC in Miami alongside Laura Lees. I've been enjoying this opportunity. I've had some struggles, and I also have, thank you, Emerson. But I've also learned to lift myself up. As a marketer, I'm very creative. I like meeting new people. I am very enthusiastic of new things. I didn't know anything about social work before ISAC. Like, it's my first organization I've been part of, and I've been part of it for almost a year already. And I can say I'm really enjoying serving like other students coming for global exchange. And yeah, just like Christopher said, some of my interests are watching movies and, stuff like that. So thank you for being here. And it's nice to see you again, giving another speech.
It's a pleasure and congratulations to you.
Next will be Mary.
Hi, my name is Mary, and I just recently graduated from FIU with my bachelor's in marketing. And as of right now, I'm actually working in a marketing field. So I'm just trying to see where I can take my career and stuff like that.
Welcome, another Panther in the house.
Next will be Valeria.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you, Pastor Charles.
It's a pleasure.
I'm from Costa Rica and I study here. I'm a second-year student in graphic design. And I believe I'm a creative person and I enjoy artistic activities like dancing, painting, singing. And I also enjoy being in nature. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm very excited about your speech and very open to learning new things. And yes, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Okay, let's see who's missing. Alberto.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Alberto Aldran. I am from Mexico City, and I am a software engineering student. I am also a self-taught developer because I consider this is a innovation world that all changes very quickly. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate meeting new people, and I am growing my network, and I am focused on improving my communication skills.
Thank you so much, Alberto. Is that all of them? Genesis?
Yes, that's
Oh, those
all.
are those are the participants of our program. I also want to introduce you to some friend of mine that I see on the line. I think I see one of your mentors, by the way, who runs a marketing company. His name is Enrique Perez. Enrique, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you very much. I'm trying to get my video here. 1 second.
Enrique, how are you?
Very good, Pastor. How are you?
I'm always blessed, always blessed. It's a pleasure seeing you again.
Well, thank you very much. It's I can't wait to listen to you and pick up those nuggets that I'm sure that you're going to put out for us.
Well, happy to share always.
Wonderful. And just as an introduction for the rest of the students online, I have a marketing company, High Techs Marketing. I'm a very good friend of Anand for many years, and I love the work that he's doing for the youth and for the young adults on this call. So I wish you all the very best.
So I know you met a friend of mine. I think you have some friends here as well, no, Pastor?
Yes, I do. I've seen online a few of them. One of them is Ms. Bev Harmon is on the line from Texas. I can't see all the persons on the line, but I did see Bev pop up. And certainly there are others. My sister, most likely Dr. Vadney Keith from United Kingdom. I think she's also on the line. And a few other folks as well. So most certainly it's a pleasure having you all here. And Hanan, as always, like I always say, it's a joy to share. For me, I learned very young in life the importance of sharing and serving. And I will definitely go through, make a presentation, but I'll share from a personal perspective the elements of life and how important service has been to me. First and foremost, as I give thanks to Mighty God for making this event possible and having me as a part of it. To you, Hanan, and your staff and students who participate, it's truly a pleasure to be a part of it. I give special thanks to the international apprentices on the line, with you, with us, and those who are able to be here, to the many supporters of this program, and the mentors and mentees that make the program a viable global endeavor. We're indeed living in a very special time. Dr. David Fleming, I hope he's on the line as well. He wrote a very interesting comment yesterday to some of his team members. He wrote a text message saying that we are living in times where people and things tend to be appreciated based upon their monetary value, where money is perceived to be the only type of wealth. The reality is that there are 5 types of wealth: financial wealth, health wealth, social wealth, time wealth, and mental wealth. Pursuit of financial wealth can rob you of all the others. Seek a balance in your life. Why is that important? Because you see there are 5 ways to give back in service to the mighty God. Service in your time, your talents, your treasures, your testimony, and your tithing. People find it much an infringement of their rights to be of service, even their parents or elders, to honor them in giving. Husbands and wives have problems serving without consideration of a reciprocation or compensation. That is why proverbial 50-50 marriages do not work. 50-50 relationships do not work. I'll be happy to expound upon it later on for you as appropriate. A marriage is a relationship of service to each other, not measured. Institutions of our societies who historically have been charged with the responsibility of services are weighing the financial options as to who and how can they be of service to society. Well, to be of service is literally one of the most rewarding of experiences that one can ever have. Ask anyone who volunteers at a soup kitchen or a food pantry or a hospital or after a major disaster. Their reward for their service comes in the help that they provide in services to others. When we serve without a primary focus as to a monetary return on that investment, but rather for humanitarian and right reasons to be a blessing to someone else. If you want to get a perspective of how serious that is, you look at the life of someone like Mother Teresa, who gave entire life to service. Former Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir, who was the first aviation trainer for the Israeli Air Force, and also the Prime Minister of Israel. Former President Nelson Mandela, who spent a major portion of his life incarcerated because he wanted to service his people and the rising of his people in South Africa. Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, who took $1.50 and started a school in Daytona Beach, Florida, now we call Bethune-Cookman College, a university actually. Or you look at somebody like Mahatma Gandhi, who walked the long walk in India to protest the taxes on salt by the British back in 1940s. You look at someone like Mao Zedong in China, and I can go on and see the sacrifice that people made in life out of service. But you see, service can't be done just because one wants to achieve something for themselves. There has to be something you do with integrity to the benefit of the whole, not just you being a part of that whole. Most corporations and social organizations have systems of service that they give to so many opportunities to serve, make positive impact in society, and definitely make a difference. Hernan, you mentioned earlier about the fact that you have people you can recommend to other people because they know who you are. And then if you recommend them, the person has to come at a certain level of integrity, and they would pay special attention to that individual because it's you who recommend them and they've seen your kind of service before. And on that weight, not because of money, but because of the integrity you provided in the relationship, that gives them the comfortability to know that if you recommend them, the person has to come with certain qualities of integrity. Most corporations have something called social corporate responsibilities, and they commit their staffs to support service to social and needy organizations. Be mindful that during such times, your conduct and manners always are under the microscope. So when you get the opportunity, someone invites you to come be a part of a cleanup or a food drive or food giveaway or some kind of social program, keep in mind that they're doing it in a way sometimes puts you under the spotlight or under the microscope. And they watch you the way you conduct yourself. And that particular kind of mannerism, how you organize things, how you disperse things to people, and how you treat people, they use that to use as a guide to see who you are. I will tell you in no uncertain terms that these particular kind of measuring sticks are more important than a job interview. Because right there, while you're conducting a social service to society, you're actually being interviewed without you being aware that you are actually being interviewed. That's why most job interviews do not even occur in a boardroom or even in an employee HR section. They're conducted in restaurants, on golf courses, and in social settings. Please do not forget that. And if you ever get caught in your mind thinking academically is the only way you actually make advancements in life, please take that out of your mind right away. 90+% of the reason why you went to college to get higher education was not because of your academic development. It was to establish relationships. 90+%. And those relationships are the ones that set your feet in the door and give you the chance to advance in life. Some of the ways in which we find success to ourselves are as follows. Helping others is so personally rewarding. Try give to others, especially those in need, and see how it makes you feel. I'll give you an example of something. Those of you on social media, if you have time, you go to something like TikTok and you see people literally setting up situations, circumstances to help those in need, whether it's a homeless person, whether it's someone hungry, whether it's someone who needs medical attention, someone who actually is down on their luck, as we say, who needs some funds to pay their rent, to buy a car, to get gas for a car, even just buy food or give them a meal. If you would watch the Oprah Winfrey Show a few years back, she took and she gave a selected group of people in the audience the opportunity to be part of an experiment. She gave them each, I think it was $10,000. She said, this is a gift to you, but you cannot receive this gift unless you can find someone to give it to. And all of them who did this, they all came back with stories of elation beyond words, because they didn't realize that while they received the money from Oprah, it was such a big rise in their emotions. But when they were able to give it out to somebody else and see the elation it brought to someone else, it created such a joy and warmth in their hearts. It made most of them cry, because it was joy beyond they ever experienced in their entire lives. I would say to you all on the line, if you've never had a chance to serve, please make it a point when the opportunity avails itself, either through your fraternities or sororities or community organizations, or even if you want to get into a corporation, find out what their social corporate focus is. Hanan mentioned United Way just a while ago. Most of the people who work at United Way came in a social focused perspective. Most folk who go down to medical school and other social or organized professions, before you get accepted to these institutions, they want to find out literally what level of community service have you done. If you want to hear an interesting thing, I'll share with all of you on the line. I work in a very interesting area. I work in the area of the Congress of the United States. And most of the people who get to work on the Hill, as we call it in Washington, D.C., they start off as interns, unpaid interns. And they volunteer their services to come into the offices. And they get hired from that based upon literally how they performed as a volunteer in that particular space. We have people who start off getting zero salary as an intern and end up becoming chief of staffs. Salaries 6 figures. I'm talking high 6 figures. The highest paid 6-figure chief of staff now can go up to over $200,000 a year. Just think what I said to you. You can come at all the degrees in the world, but if you do not have the integrity to serve without expecting monetary compensation, you literally can shoot yourself in the foot and prevent yourself from being able to actually achieve the maximum you could achieve in life. So do not limit yourself only to the money you're going to earn in a position just because it pays well. It would definitely undermine your ability to actually be better off when you get into that particular office. Second factor, when you're serving, it expands your skill sets, especially as relates to organization of goods and product distribution and decision-making, especially organization. And people watch how you organize yourself in dispersing services and goods. Critically important. Thirdly, it expands your sphere of influence and access. The people you meet in places where services are rendered are people who have access to other people. And they're people usually have access to people above themselves, because resources required to render services tend to usually be donated and are provided in a way that requires organization and acquisition through systems of either government or social structures in society, through churches and other civic organizations. Fourthly, is a huge confidence builder. When you are doing something from the heart and someone tells you how good it is, it inspires you doing better. And it encourages you to go on to continue to do what you're doing. And these kinds of things become major motivators of your confidence and self-esteem. Fifthly, most service and civic organizations have reputations for doing good work. Your working with them gives you capital that can be leveraged professionally in professional services. Hernan, you are very, very much aware of what I'm talking about. And I can assure you in no uncertain terms that your life and my life in that same regard have been majorly impacted by our service we've had and relations we built over time while conducting services for free. Sixth, politically, it is one of the main deterrents of leaders in political office. If you want to run for political office and you can't start off with somewhere at a PTA or PTSA, or if you haven't started off at a crime watch community or the school board or some other service without a compensation, believe me, I tell you, you have trouble gaining the confidence that people need to support you to be elevated in life or promote you to your professional life. Because people are going to look at you and ask, what are you doing for people without just being paid for it? They look at you being just very egotistic and self-centered. So you have to be mindful that those people who are around you, who will not be paying you right there and then, they have a focus on you as wanting to be a person in leadership position as to how you came up the ladder, how you arose to where you are, how are you going to get to the top where you want to be. And it requires a lot more than just being paid for it, okay? And I say this to you, the seventh fact I'll give to you is this. If you ever want to get your foot in the door of a high-ranking organization or professional institution, it's very important to find where can you serve that has a path that leads to you getting there. You can target where you want to go. A lot of parents in state or state political offices or even in local county positions or city commissions, they start off usually at just neighborhood associations or homeowners associations, or even in the PTA, the PTSAs. And they start there with no look of any kind of compensation at all. And the way they do what they do there is how they gain the support of the local community to help propel them to another level. And I'd encourage you to look at people like Les Brown. Les Brown is one of the biggest motivational speakers in the world. And Les Brown used to go to a radio station in Miami Beach back in the 1960s or 70s, I can't remember exactly what it was. And he used to volunteer there to be the runner for the radio station. Someone wanted some coffee, he'd go to the station, go down the street and get some coffee. Or someone wanted a Coca-Cola, he did that. Or wanted to get a pizza, he'd go and get that. And one Saturday, the DJ who was supposed to be on air, DJ was so intoxicated he couldn't perform. So the manager called the station to speak to the DJ, and he couldn't even answer the phone. And Les answered the phone. And he asked him, can you turn the records? He said, yes, sir. He said, can you do this and that? He said, yes, sir. Now, all the while Les was there, he was watching how they did what they did. And that was his first step to becoming who he is today. He was serving people with paying attention to what he could become. And today, I don't tell anyone on his phone who Les Brown is. If you don't know, just Google his name. Like Hanan knows. When you open your mouth, speak Les Brown in corporate America, anywhere around the world, he's very highly recognized and appreciated for the service and speech he give. In closing, I'd like to say to you, volunteer and be of service. You'll be surprised of not only who sees you, but also who want to help you achieve your goals of life. Today, you have Hernan sitting here with you. And above nothing else, he wants to do is help you be more who you want to be. That's why he's helping you as a mentor in your life. It is one of the basic meanings of love. It gives others the opportunity to see your human side. So very important, especially those challenging times. And remember I said to you earlier, service is the price we pay for the space we occupy. I want to thank you so much for your time. And then I thank students, and I'm more than happy to be answering questions you may have. I'll give any more insight into my service of life. I've been blessed, starting my first company when I was 9 years of age, growing that to now becoming 20-something professions later. I am now the Director of Outreach for Congresswoman Frederica Wilson in Congressional District FL 24, and happy every single day to serve. I still do it every single day with passion, with joy. Thank you so much. Welcome, Elisa.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor.
Pleasure.
I want to talk about something that I found interesting, particularly, and we've had these discussions as well, to try to serve from a position of strength, not of weakness, no? And this is something that I always highlight to the people that I know, because if you're struggling with mental, physical, emotional, financial, you can serve, yes, but the level and which way you serve can you need to be selective, because some things require your 100%. So what can you say about having the proper platform to do this kind of service, you know?
Hanan, let me share something with you. There are some old epithets or proverbs that go this way: no man is an island. No one can stand alone. And there's an old adage that says the same folks who put you where you are today, tomorrow they can take you away. And self-praise is no recommendation. Hanan, if you wanted to go somewhere that you've never been before, you find someone who have the quote unquote political clout to recommend you to go there. You have people who observe you and say, Hanan, your priorities in life as relates to you want to go where you want to go need to shift or change. That's critical, because it's always important to have someone higher than yourself who can give you guidance, a mentor in your life. It's very important. And when you're selecting the path you want to take in life, always try and bounce it to someone else. Don't try to figure you know all the answers or it's in a book somewhere. It's easier to listen to someone else's mistakes they made to avoid them, to try go there making mistakes yourself, to learn from them. So it's always important to have someone who can impart wisdom upon you, critically so, in the context of you're trying to achieve in life, especially related to professional development. Very important.
Yeah, that is very true. I something which we'll touch upon next week, but it has to do with what you're mentioning today, which is the ability, the thing that I take very seriously, which is how can I serve my mentors every day, right? Every day, and I just for the blessing of them spending that little time that made a big impact is how I find time for them, and they get excited by me calling them. So it's really cool. I saw some hands raised. I think Carla was first. So go ahead, Carla.
Yeah, thank you. So I just wanted to touch back on something you both, Hernan and Pastor, said about mental health. So I was struggling with mental health since March of this year, I think, and I've been getting better. And I decided to take a break from Isaac because I thought it was too overbearing, and I was like, I can't do this. But since my mentor of Isaac is Professor Sangu, which you both know, she talked to me about her experience with mental health, in the workforce, and how serving people like in Isaac has helped her a lot, and how, telling people about your problems is very important, not only in with mental health, but economic problems and something. So I agree that it's good to talk to someone who is in a higher position than you, because if I wouldn't have spoken to Professor Sangu about my problems and I would have just quit Isaac, then I wouldn't be in the position I am right now. Like I said, I just was ascended to vice president of the organization. So I'm glad that I spoke to someone. I like to said, allow people to help you. And yeah, that's just what I wanted to say, like my experience with that. Thank you.
If I may, Carla, if I may say something to you, I want you to know and understand something. We all need someone in this life. We all do. And the challenges you may face may seem insurmountable at the time. but there are always ways to sit down with someone and bounce what you're going off on them, and you avail yourself and get others to avail with you. It's important to have a support base around you for different kinds of things. And thank God that you had Dr. Songu to be there with you, because quite frankly, some people get to a point where they go into deeper and deeper states of challenges mentally. Most people have challenges, and so they don't have the support base to recognize and or to deal with it until it gets too bad and too significant. That's more the challenge. But I thank God you were able to overcome your situation and realize your choices that could be made positively about it.
Yeah. So let me share something with you that I'll be completely open about it, because I'm always honest. When I founded Apprentice Worldwide, the main reason is that when I was your age, I struggled with these issues. My parents were divorced. I was living in Miami by myself. And when I started building a relationship with my dad was after I left Puerto Rico, which I was allowed then to speak to him. He died. And that put me in a deep depression for at least a year, until I found, the love that inspired me was the love of my wife and her family. And I wanted that peace. And I found that peace through the Lord, right? So I became Catholic. I did RCIA. And I got introduced to young adult ministry, which is a great support system, right? And the priest asked me to take over at some point, and I stepped up. I didn't know. I thought he was crazy, but he asked me a question: do you want to learn about your faith? And the answer was absolutely. He said, okay, everything that you learn, you share. So I took that opportunity and did that for 10 years. So my wife and I led youth and young adult ministries, helping people struggle with mental health issues for many, many years. But that takes a toll on the people serving as well. So how many bad stories can you hear? So many that sometimes it gets hard. So that's when I realized that I God was wanted me to take a little break, but He brought me back to young adult ministry through Apprentice Worldwide. But now, instead of speaking to you about God, I speak to you about life and about business. But you still struggle with the same things, right? That the people that used to go to my young adult ministry, which is your parents might not be around, or your parents might not be in your same field, right? Or they push you out and they want you to start making money. And all these things happen at a time where you're trying to build your relationship, build your finances, make friends, and all these things. So I realized that, and then you hang out with 20-year-olds. So guess what? Your support system is just as, lack of wisdom as you. So therefore, I created these environments to allow for people to interact with senior people, to be able to bounce ideas, and you be in a support system throughout your life. By the way, so the people that join Apprentice Worldwide never get fired, right? This is your team forever, until you go from muddy waters, right? Because you're starting and you're struggling and so many things between 20 and 30, 26, 27. And I understand that. And this is why we created Apprentice Worldwide, right? So this goes to the core of what we do. So everything that I do at Apprentice Worldwide, yes, we teach you a lot about business. And yes, I teach you a lot about skills, but in reality and Pastor Charles knows, I do it because I care, right? And you need to understand that people care about you.
that you're not alone, right? And as long as you're here, we together will help each other out. You see? So this is a blessing in disguise. How many times Enrique and I are part of a men's ministry together. How many times do we struggle, Enrique, right? And we still reach out to each other and help each other out, right? Pastor Charles, I have issues, I call him. So don't think you're alone, right? This is lessons that you're learning so that you surround yourself with good people that care about you. No, Enrique, how many times, do we struggle, right? He struggles with his business. I got fired in 2017 twice, and my mom died right after.
And if I could just help, I agree with you 100%. Pastor, I've loved everything that you've said. I think the vulnerability that Hernan shows to this group and what he does in life in general, that brings people to him, and at the same time they give to him and he gives back, and that is really what's helped me out. The same as Hernan, personally, in business, with the Lord, with all the missions that you are going to have in your lives. You gotta find mentors that you can learn from. But Hernan is a wonderful mentor, and the fact that he shares so openly, I think will help to connect with you guys, and always reach out and just be open. But I agree with you, Hernan, 100%.
Well, listen, and between you and I, we know who the glory is for. So I don't take any credit. All I do is bring people together. So everybody has a skill set. My skill set is I bring people together and I try to solve problems collectively, not by myself. So I use the tools available to help out with situations. So. And talking about helping people out, Nalisa, who was my analyst many, many years ago, now is part of our staff. Nalisa.
Hi, thank you for having me. Thank you for this incredible, Zoom meeting on public service. I was listening very attentively, and it's really funny because the leaders are truly, it's inevitable. You have to be in public service if you're truly a leader, like a positive leader, which is why they all know each other and they're all good friends with one another. All the superheroes know each other, truthfully, and behind it. And I know that a lot of people think of like public service and they think almost like charity work, or that it's very different or difficult to lead in professions in this place. And I wanted to ask Charles specifically because there's a lot of leadership roles in corporations and nonprofits and government that have really high titles that are entirely related to community and service, right? So even if when you're looking for jobs and you're putting the word community in, that has to do with organizations like this. And so humans really, really want to connect with one another, and having this forum of professional people that are interested in developing professionally and mentors with one another is really your way to go up. So what do you think about leadership roles? I like how you can actually get any kind of role and how many different titles. Can you share some information about that? The first part.
I'll be happy to do it, Nalisa. Thank you so much for such a very interesting question. I added 2 words into the title of tonight's discussion. I was asked to speak about how serving leads to success. And I said, the 2 words I ended with integrity. I said, how serving with integrity leads to success. One of the things that we find happening in the world today is that people begin to be almost like a chameleon. They change themselves just to suit what they think is appropriate for the time to make themselves look better than they truly are. And if you want to really get the attention of individuals to recognize you as for who you are, be like Hernan has been, nakedly honest. Nakedly honest. Because I wrote a book, and at least you aware of this book, about relationships. One of the hardest things in life for people to do is to trust each other. And I always tell people that's something as a word I very seldom use because most people don't understand how powerful it is. Because when you violate that with someone, you might as well take a gun and put it to your head and pull the trigger. Because most often people are very non-forgiving about you violating their trust. And when you get the trust of someone, value it. Value it. Because then they were willing to walk with you and help you go wherever you want to go. You heard Enrique and Hanan speak of their relationship. And they're two men who literally know each other and they know each other intimately as relates to the trust factor. And if you want someone to trust you and be able to recommend you or help promote you, do it with integrity. Be consistent in your mannerisms. Be deliberate in your attempts to achieve things. And people will join you and help pushing you along the way to positions of leadership. And when people can see you leading effectively a balanced life, focused on a purpose, they're more than happy to join you because you're going somewhere. They know that you're going somewhere. And with that, you find that places like the military, the church, civic organizations, corporate America are happy to project you further up the ladder if you demonstrate you have the competencies with your integrity to want to go there. It's not always about the academics. It's not all about the academics. It's more often about the characteristic of the person and their human skill sets. Vitally important when you talk about leadership.
In every type of job, right? You can have it in any role.
Every job.
It's just a leadership skill. And the last thing I know Emerson has his hand up, but this is something that I wanted to share with you because I know the next elections are coming up and I'm putting the information in the chat in August here in Miami-Dade County and the importance of elections and also to kind of like get rid of this perception that there's politics involved in participation in voting essentially in all of this. So if you can share how can we use our social capital, our political capital, and we as individuals make a difference for the public in your perspective?
I would tell you it's difficult for people to understand what I'm about to say to you, but be consistent and for the principles you stand on. Don't be wishy-washy about them. Don't shift them as it's public opinion. Stand by the principles you believe in life. If people see that you lack consistency in your positions on issues, they become less trusting of you. And in the political process, where you find people compromise their positions to facilitate the opinion of others or support of other people, that's one reason why American polity have very little trust in most political leaders. I was a formerly elected public servant. I never was a politician, I was a public servant. And when I left public office as an elected official, people cried. They begged me not to do so, but I had to because of health reasons. And I'm telling you today, you find it's very difficult nowadays to find another John McCain in Congress, or in the Senate, sorry, or to find another Claude Pepper in the Congress. These are people who have integrity, or Dante Fascell. You understand what I'm saying to you? And young people today almost change their opinions as fast as they change their clothes because they lack the wisdom or the political historical knowledge of literally what's more important rather than their own personal opinions, what really is in the best interest of the whole. And that's a sacrifice to manifest that particular position. And that's what I've always done. Stand strong on those principles, especially from my faith-based perspective.
So it's funny that you mentioned that because I disagree with a lot of people. Okay, in many cases, but what I realize is that the relationship is more important, and the love that I have for those people is more important because we can be at any spectrum, right? Any spectrum in the political or in the type of work that people focus on, that might be different from mine, right? But what I did realize is that we have to find, and this is how we solve the problems in our society, is we have to find ways to come to the table and with respect have dialogues. at the end of the day, at the end of the day, if you're cutting each other's heads off, right, and you don't come to the table and have discussions, then nothing will ever get solved. Not for one side, not for the other side, not for any side. So I, so obviously, the things that happen in my life, there's no coincidence. So right now I'm taking a course, a postgraduate course on spiritual direction, and from St. Thomas University is my second year. And what I realized in all this is that we do so much talking, but very little listening. So discernment is very important. So what happens with the millennials, Gen Z generation is that you've been bombarded with noise. And the problem with being bombarded with noise is that you have so many messages that you don't know what to listen to. Well, you know what? Turn everything off and listen to the one that made you. And that's what I believe. That's why I shut everything down and I go on retreats every so often. That's me. You guys can do whatever you want, but you have to turn down the noise to be able to listen to, your heart. And what your heart tells you is the heart is love. If you're listening to anything that is not of love, then you're listening to the wrong thing. If you're listening to hate, you are gonna build a life full of hate. So again, that's why serving is so important, because it humbles you. Doesn't matter whether you're the richest man in the planet. If you come down and use that position of strength to serve, then you're not gonna be judged the same as the guy that has very little and is serving, right? So that they're both giving what they have. They're both giving what they have. So just think about how you're gonna live your life, and if you're gonna take, then you're not gonna go far. Trust me, you're gonna make a ton of money, but then eventually you're gonna crash, and it's gonna be horrendous. We don't want you to fail, by the way. So that's why we tell you these things. No? Bueno, anybody else?
Emerson, I think.
Emerson.
Hi, thank you so much, Pastor Scott, for sharing, and also just want to thank Hernan for for bringing just excellent speakers and also an excellent group of people. Even Elisa here, bringing me into this group and introducing me to Apprentice Worldwide, it's been a gift. Yeah, I think my question relates a little bit to what I was talking about earlier in my introduction too. On this idea of being caught between two paths of where I want to go into my career. On the one hand, I know that I have been very disconnected from my home country, Malaysia. I'm going back after almost 4 years and really not having been home at all, and wanting to work on the social issue side, but also wanting to go into corporate at the same time. I've been given this opportunity to intern at the SDG Secretariat, where I really get to have experience in the groundwork and learn what the needs of the people in Malaysia are. But at the same time, to be honest, I'm also very scared of the future. What will it hold? Potential recession, wanting to have a big corporate name on my resume. Also the fear of knowing that Malaysia and working with social work, I might not have the same financial freedom that I've had in this country so far. So yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on what should I really be thinking about when making a decision like this.
That's a good question, and I'll share something with you. I really would like to share with you that take one lesson Hernandez mentioned. Spend the time listening. Listen to your heart, first and foremost. Listen to your heart tell you what's in your best interest, what you are searching for as a person, fulfill your purpose. When you get back home to Malaysia, I'd encourage you to listen to the people around you. You may have learned all the academics, you may learn all of the different kinds of things the American way or the Western way. But in Malaysia, as you're well aware, Malaysia has a different kind of culture and custom and history compared to the Western world. Its economics is somewhat different as well. And it's going to be very important that you listen to people, those in positions of leadership, those who you see to be just a common man in society, and you find out what they really want, what they expect of you. And you be contrite and honest. Let them know you're right now finding your way, you're feeling your way towards a certain point. What that point is, you don't know for sure yet, but soon you will know. And at a certain point, you're going to get enough information is to begin to speak to your heart and what you come up with before you left here to go back to Malaysia. And you start to see some emergence of a coalescing of your ideas and the people's desire of you from a social and economic perspective. Whether it's in the government sector or the private sector, you're going to start seeing coming together. What you need to always do, though, as Anand was suggesting earlier, is find a balance in it all. Find a balance in it all. And I encourage you to always carry a notebook with you to make notes. Write notes down. When people see you paying attention, you're writing the notes down for what they're saying, they know you're valuing what they're saying to them. As a lead communication specialist in my professional life, I will tell you that it is critically important before you start to give people your ideas, your suggestions, know who your audience is. Vitally important. In order to know who they are, let them tell you and show you who they are. And when they show you and tell you who they are, believe them. Don't try to put your mindset onto what they're saying without putting it down on paper and analyzing it and looking at the circumstance around them to manifest to you truly what there is that you need to be aware of. In a country like Malaysia, as you're well aware, there's a whole diversity of different opportunities and different kinds of factors pulling you in different directions. Malaysia is a multifaceted society and a multifaceted economy with a certain strategic families and organizations who have certain controls in certain facets of society. You need to be mindful of that and keep yourself on an even keel, as we say, both in your personal life, your business life, and literally your private life. Because quite frankly, you're going to find people can want to put you in certain social and professional circles. But you need to define who you want to be in terms of not just today. You need to start thinking where you want to go 5, 10, 15 years down the road, as you can play a pivotal role in how Malaysia develops. And that particular role will define the decisions you make and your return back home to Malaysia. Even now, you start putting those in place.
Right. No,
If ever
thank
I
you
can be of
for-
assistance
for-
in regard to you, I'm more than happy to assist. And I'll share this with you. Anand knows that I have a profound background in the world of political econometrics. And that's what I was able to help the 16 countries of West Africa with. I'm more than happy to assist you as you go down this path in your social endeavor. Quite frankly, as an analyst in that regard, and also as a director of outreach and communications, I'm more than happy to help you package things relative to what you're trying to achieve, whether it be giving a presentation or literally positioning yourself to literally go up the line for an interview or whatever have you. I'm more than happy to assist. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yes, I will be sure to reach out. I would love to hear, about the work that you've done and everything. So, and I think thanks for, really thanks for sharing the part about, listening to your heart. I think a lot of the times when I'm thinking about, what next to do in my career, it's very much from, the head. What will be best for my career? What's going to give me the best opportunities for me to, get the ideal lifestyle and whatnot. But I think really listening to the present and what I want to do in that moment itself is really good advice. And also the listening part. Really appreciate that. But yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You know what I like to hold on. What I like to share with you is something with everybody here, okay? Because I've been with you. This is my 5th week, and what I realize is you guys are multi-talented. You have talent to do many things. So we had this conversation. Carla, Gabriel, Valeria, all of you at Dev. But what happens is you cannot split yourself, right? From as much as you like, you cannot multiply yourselves times 20. And the more you attempt to do that, the worse it is for your mental health. So I would always say, you have to choose one and do it quickly, right? You go with that. So if you don't have other choices, you go to the first one. If you have 3, 4, you pick one, even if you have to flip a coin. Okay, this one. And then you start doing that. What's going to happen is 2 things are going to happen. You start working very hard, and then you realize, oh my God, this is what I love. This is what I like. This is what I'm going to continue doing. And you build upon that. But if you do not do that, if it's the opposite, oh my God, I hate this. I hate marketing because they put me in the back of the room to analyze numbers and I can't be that creative. Then you switch, right? But you switch to the next thing. Do it respectfully, do it kindly. This is why it's so important. Like I told you, my best friends, some of my best friends are my mentors that I quit on them. Yeah, I didn't quit immediately. I probably paid my dues because I gave them back for what they gave me in value. Sometimes it was 1.5 years, 3 years, right? And sometimes they give me an opportunity. I kept doing it, but don't think that you're the only one that changed. I went from 25,000 in 1 year to 2 or 3 years later to 70,000. So it just happened because I changed a couple of times. Now, the good thing is that I made some mistakes. The mistakes that I made many mistakes, but one of the mistakes that I made was not going for the heart. So one of the reasons why I became a banker was because my parents had financial difficulties, and therefore I wanted to solve the world's financial problems so that it didn't impact me. But then I realized that by sitting in a desk analyzing numbers, I was killing myself daily. But I prayed a lot about it and realized that was the core skeleton to allow me to become a corporate banker. So I needed to, quote unquote, sacrifice those 1.5 years of analyzing so that the next 20 years of my life, I was successful at being corporate trade finance banker. So, but I did realize that I did not want to do analyzing numbers forever, right? But it was the basis, the building blocks of my career. It's like a must-have, So again, would I have done things differently at that time? I had that set of circumstance, but I made up for it later on in my life and in my career through advice from mentors. What do I do? What do I do? Oh no, go over here, try this, meet this guy, right? And then I started building my own network. We'll talk about building a network next week.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Anybody else?
So,
yeah, go ahead, Elisa. Go.
Really quick, I wanted to connect there's a lot of overlap between the environmental piece that I know that you shared a recent Global Sustainable Goals event, right, Emerson? And then Charles has a very, very big background with environmental engineering and sustainability and all of these areas. And it's kind of humorous because there's, even with Hernan's specialty with trade and Charles' specialty with these international issues of social impact, and Emerson, even your experience with that and the countries, these kind of different skill sets, when they come together, can really create big things, jobs, trade, and things across the board. And I wanted you to bring in sustainability into this topic briefly, because I know that's something that you're like leading the waves, and there's a lot of exciting stuff coming forward, Charles. So if you want to give us all a glimpse into that, to get people excited, I really think that they should know kind of like the importance of things like that.
Melissa, thank you so much. And I know we have a deadline of some time tonight. If we wanted to talk about sustainability things, it could be in a couple of days, but all the same, I will give you the quick and dirty. As we all aware on this line tonight, the sea level rise issues and the global warming factors are all very real. And there are countries in the world whose existence, literally their present geographic existence is in peril at the present time. 50 years from now, there'll be some countries in the Pacific that are, atolls, for instance, will no longer be there. We have seen here in South Florida and other parts of the East Coast, huge increase in hurricanes and strength of hurricanes in recent years, all related to global warming, as well as the kinds of strength of hurricanes. And there are measures afoot to deal with these, what they call sustainability issues or solutions. Miami, Florida is one of the most vulnerable places in the world to this because it was such a low-lying area, along with New York and parts of Massachusetts, the Gulf Coast state of Louisiana, parts of Mississippi, et cetera, and Virginia, et cetera. And what it's important for you to know is the federal government is compelled to address it. We are compelled because, quite frankly, in the corridor of risk at the present time, are literally over 100 million people in this country, directly in line of sea level rise issues. And as you can tell in the country right now, there's a huge heat wave in Southwest United States, coming from California all the way over to Texas. We are seeing heat index today in Dade County is like 103, 104 degrees. Major fires in parts of Europe, parts of Asia, and also we've seen parts even Siberia, which has been covered with snow up until a few years ago, now in forest fires. I'm telling you these things because we have to think globally in our approach to global warming. As you are aware, there were the Kyoto Accords and the other different climatic agreements that were attempted to be signed on over the past 10, 15 years around the world. And there've been resistance to it because of economic reasons. Well, the sustainability factors that we must look at has to do with not just economic reasons, but our survivability as a people on the planet and our quality of life. And if we don't start addressing it now and giving it a 1.5 degrees Celsius factor we're talking about within the next couple of years, there's a good possibility we may lose the opportunity to actually correct this ever again. And that's very serious what I'm saying to you, because quite frankly, I'm from the Bahamas originally. And year before, when we had Hurricane Dorian hit the Bahamas a few years back, it was some of the most strongest winds, sustained winds we've ever seen in the eastern part of the United States. Because in Abaco and Abaco and Grand Bahama, the tidal surge became so high because of the winds, literally it washed from one side of some of the islands to the other side. So people's homes got washed away. And we don't even know to this day how many people drowned or died. The exact figure is still not known. These things are important. We're here in South Florida. Right now we have a huge building boom going on. Economically, things look so good. But quite frankly, if you have a major hurricane came through here, we could have a major catastrophe on our hands, because more than half the population in South Florida have not been through a major hurricane. And the population continues to go every single day. We have things going to happen in Biscayne Bay, for instance, to deal with the constant algae blooms, Lake Okeechobee with algae blooms. And it's already affecting the tourism down here. Year before last, Palm Beach County lost a lot of money because folks couldn't go and enjoy the beach. Just only dead fish on the beach and smelled so bad. No one wanted to go to the beach in Palm Beach or Martin County or in Tampa St. Pete. And these factors affect people's quality of life. So yes, Lisa, a lot of federal dollars are going to be coming this way. The congresswoman who I work for, she's put her hand to the wheel, and this year we brought in $18 billion alone to deal with some of these infrastructure issues and needs for South Florida. Dade County got like $1.5 billion to deal with some of the infrastructure needs, raising the roads and starting to put in place things like better drainage systems and addressing some of the low-lying areas where people are most vulnerable. The city of Miami is beginning to address them. The city of Miami Beach is beginning to address it. So yes, these are critical issues, and it's not just here. It's all over the country, especially coastal regions of the country, and other parts of the world. So certainly, I'm looking forward to being able to tell you more about that as we look to try and restore the Everglades and try to get some elements of quality put back into it to sustain the quality of life we have in South Florida.
We're a global city.
So it's amazing that you bring this, because one thing that I want to share, and I think we're a little past the time, but I do want to share, Charles, what you bring is so important, because we don't. Sometimes we get desensitized by the things that are happening around us, right? So that's why I always have a saying that, and I'm from Puerto Rico, right? I came to Miami in 1990, and this is my home, right? This is where my children were born. This is where I made my life. So I always have a saying that we are like lighthouses, strategically placed to shine the light wherever we are. So if you're from a different part of town, society, right? Just think, when you think about service, start serving where you are, right? So you don't have, this doesn't have to be your full-time job. Those that have the blessing of doing that 100% of the time, with their, and they get paid for this, phenomenal. But this doesn't have to be a paid thing. You can take on the things, look around you, and look at the things that are needed in your city, in your society, and start helping there. Like, try it out. If you have no clue, I'll give you some ideas, right? Just look at neighborhoods around you that need, Pastor Charles shared it. Maybe you want to feed the hungry. Maybe you want to build a house. Maybe you want to pick up garbage. Whatever it is that is needed, is just something that to those 5 minutes of your life can change another life forever. It's like our mentors. This is what I ask my mentors, by the way. All of my mentors, I tell them, give me 5 minutes and you can change a life. Look what's gonna happen after the hour that you give Pastor Charles. I'm sure many lives will be impacted and changed. So again, thank you, my friend. I really appreciate you. You know how much you mean to me. And thank you, Nalisa, for introducing us as well. Nalisa, you know how much you mean to me as well. And the patience that I have is because I love you.
I love mutual love to all of you. I'm just happy to connect such good humans, because it really helps me too. It's mutually beneficial. And we have to take a picture before you all go, so I want to see your faces.
Yeah, and Carla, Emerson, Dev, Arthur, Gabrielle, Mary, all of you, right? You have been with us, right, for some of you for five weeks, but some of you have been part of Apprentice Worldwide for much longer. This is what matters, right? The relationships that we build. That's what you're gonna take away. If you don't take away relationships from this program, you are missing the boat, right? This is really what you should be looking into, number one. Okay. You did it with your mentors, some of you, but some of you, guys, connect with each other. Look, Deb, hang out with Emerson, thanks to Emerson's invitation, right? We'll get to hang out, the people in Miami, at some point, but let's find ways to continue being of service to each other, physically or virtually. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Any final questions?
Just a photo.
Okay.
If I may say so, Anand, before you close, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to share. Service has always been very important to me, and Nalisa knows this, and so does Anand. I spend an inordinate amount of my time every single day, even after normal business hours, dealing with international relationships that I have. That's around the world. It's a joy to be a part of something of this kind. It's a joy to be making impact, especially positive impact. And to know that in some way, shape, or form, we are passing it on, we are paying it forward, and looking forward to seeing good outcomes from all of this time we spend together. Thank you all so very much. And be blessed, all of you. Have a glorious evening.
Thank you too.
Thank you, Pastor. And by the way, Pastor Charles is in our WhatsApp group. So if you want to connect with him, his information is there. Number one. Number two, most importantly, You guys have homework to do. The product that I want you to start packaging so that we can start presenting to people is you, right? So let's work on those presentations. Give me a rough draft by Friday if you can, so I can see what you're looking at. Take some Canva nice templates if you can, but start working on you. Again, one slide per idea. So one that talks about yourself, one that talks about what you learned, one that talks about, you know, your career and what you want to accomplish, right? So 2, 4, maximum 5 slides about yourself. And then I got some books for you to read this week, but do not fail me. Don't leave me hanging. Next week, I am speaking to you, giving you the secrets of building relationships, and you're going to have fun with that. So get ready. Bring a notebook, okay?
Okay.
Se acabó. Okay, guys. Genesis.
Smile.
Genesis. Before I forget, you may have some good news for some people later on, no?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. I leave it in your able hands. Okay, ready for the picture? Awesome. All right, guys. Sorry, FIU. Go Canes.
Bless you, Nan. Bless you all. Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
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 Bye.